hello again. Hi, Daniel.
Hello again.
Okay, great to have you back. So I'm just going to introduce this class. Welcome to all of you watching. I'm Kate, an English teacher from the United States here on Verbling. Today's class is for intermediate learners, and it's about phrasal verbs. So these are verbs that have verbs that are formed with a main verb and a preposition or particle, and they're extremely common in English, and they can be pretty difficult for English learners. So that's what we'll be talking about today. For other topics, you can always look at verbling.com. There are classes 24 hours a day and from teachers all over the world, all native speakers. And you can also book private tutoring lessons by sending messages to these tutors. Okay, so Daniel, and we have Rafael here too. Hi, Rafael.
Hi, teacher.
Hi, nice to see you again.
Let's see you too.
How is it going?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good.
What about you?
Doing well. Doing well. It's hot here today.
Really? It's
It's very
cold
hot.
here.
Really? Where do you live
Yeah.
again?
I live in Brazil.
In Brazil. It's cold. Because you're,
Yeah, it's in southern hemisphere, so it's winter
yeah,
here.
yeah, it's winter. Yeah, I'm in Barcelona in the summer and it is hot. So,
I imagine how it is.
yeah, it's nice though. All right, and let's see. Wissam?
Hello.
Hi, did I say your name correctly?
Yes, right.
Yes. Okay, where are you calling from?
I'm from Iraq.
From Iraq. Cool.
Yes,
Okay, well, it's great to have you here. Nice to meet you.
me too.
And let's see, so I think you're my only new student so far. So Wissam, tell me, how long have you been learning English?
That's depend on my studies in physics department in college in Baghdad. But our studying is scientific language, not in general.
Okay,
But I work for international organization, U.S. organization, and we should work with the people from U.S., from British, from another countries. Therefore, we need the language to communicate with each other.
okay, great, cool. And have you taken many classes on verbling?
Yes, I have teacher Maureen in Verbling, but I didn't take any lesson for 1 month ago because I was outside Iraq. I just back
Oh, okay,
since 3 days to Baghdad.
great.
So I resume my work with Verbling.
Okay, interesting, cool. All right, well, great to meet you. And hello, Giuseppe.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. And you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Italy.
From where in Italy? Italy, I guessed, but which
I'm
city?
from Sicily.
From Sicily. Very cool. And Giuseppe, how long have you been learning English?
In Verblin since November,
Since November.
November or December.
Okay, cool. Great. So today, as you know, we're going to be talking about phrasal verbs. Have any of you studied phrasal verbs before?
Yes, some of that, some of that.
Some of them. Okay. What can you tell me about phrasal verbs, if anything?
Well, from what I know, first a verb. Sorry from the background.
No, it's okay.
Phrasal verb is consists of a verb and a preposition or another verb, and can be separable or inseparable.
Okay. Good.
And could have and it's possible that phrasal verb has more than one meaning.
Good. Great. Okay, that was great. So phrasal verbs, in summary, it's a verb and a preposition or particle. And the particle really can change the meaning of the verb. So we're going to look at a lot of examples and then we're going to do some practice with these phrasal verbs. Okay, and welcome to you two who just arrived. It's great to have you back in class. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you and just give you some background on the grammar of phrasal verbs. It's going to be the most dry part of the class, probably, but bear with me, and then we'll do some more interesting speaking and conversation activities towards the end. All right, any questions before we get started?
No.
No, no questions. Okay, great. Javier, hello, welcome.
Hello, teacher.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks.
Great. Okay, so I was just saying that, as you know, today is about phrasal verbs. So I'm going to introduce the grammar, right? We'll do a quick review, and then we'll do some practice exercises, and then we'll practice what we've learned in some speaking. Okay, so
Okay.
all right, can everyone see this?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Okay, so if you look here, you'll see that we have, in a phrasal verb, we have a main verb and a preposition. Okay, can I have someone read this box for me?
The practical looks like a preposition, but it doesn't. It functions as a preposition.
Right, good. So up is a preposition, but here it's not functioning as a preposition, it's functioning as part of this verb phrase. Okay? So this is just the grammar. If that means nothing to you, it's okay. You can still understand the meaning. All right, and please feel free to stop me at any point, right, as we go through this with questions, as always. Okay, so here we're going to learn about particles. So these are part of the verb phrase, and they often change the meaning of the verb. So what does it mean to look at something in
To
general?
see up.
Okay, or what if we just have the sentence, he looked at the painting. Here, we just have looked, right? It's just the verb, no particle. What does looked mean?
To watch, to see.
Yeah, to watch or to see, right? It's basic. It's a basic verb. Okay, but now you'll see how this changes. Adding a particle can really change things, right? So here, he looked up at the skyscraper. Here, up is functioning as a preposition, right? So looked has the same meaning of to see or to watch, and up at the skyscraper is a prepositional phrase that is indicating where he looked. Okay, so this is not a phrasal verb. This is a verb and a prepositional phrase.
It's like direction.
Sorry?
It's like direction. So he can
It's showing
look
the direction.
down, for
Yeah.
example.
Good. So yeah, exactly. And here, this prepositional phrase, it doesn't change the meaning of the verb, right? Look still means to see. Okay, now we have our phrasal verb. So here, she looked up a word in her dictionary. So here, up is acting as a particle, right? Not a preposition. And because of the way this functions, this phrase means something completely different, right? What does it mean to look up a word in a dictionary?
To find something.
To search.
A
To
word.
search for or to find. To search for is most. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Can we use this phrasal verb, for example, when we need to look something up in a document? Maybe some number or some information in some particular document.
Yeah, so that's also to look up something in a document. That's the phrasal verb too. Was that the question?
Look up something on the internet too, no?
Exactly, yeah. To look up something on the internet. Great. Okay, any questions? Okay, let's move on. All right, so there are a lot of phrasal verbs that could be replaced by one word. Okay, so to wake up is the same as to awaken. To go on means the same as to continue.
Continue.
And to take off means the same thing as to remove. Okay, so what's the difference in the usage of wake up and awaken, for example? Does anyone know? Well, you have the answer here. So essentially, when we're speaking English, we would really never say awaken, right? We almost always say wake up. So if I said I awoke at 7 a.m. today, people would stare at me like I was a crazy person, right? Because or not crazy, but it sounds like antiquated speech or something, right? It's extremely formal. And the same thing with remove, especially. If you, for example, people would say, "Can you take off your shoes when you enter the house?" Right, and that's much more common than using remove. But in writing, you should absolutely use these one-word verbs because they're formal and they're great, right? They're more concise. They're absolutely correct. But in speaking, phrasal verbs. All right. Okay, so does everyone know what a transitive verb is? Essentially, a transitive verb is something that has an object, right? So here, he called up his boss, right? Who did he call? He called his boss to tell him he had overslept. And this is just to show you that with a phrasal verb, you can often separate them, right? So both of these sentences are correct, and both mean the exact same thing. He called up his boss. He called his boss up. Both are fine. Both mean the same thing. And again, the same thing. At the last minute, the bride called off the wedding. At the last minute, the bride called the wedding off. Same meaning. It's just a matter of separating the phrasal verb or not. And they both sound fine in English.
Can you tell me the meaning of this phrasal verb? Called off. It's a decline or cancel.
Called off is to call off means to cancel.
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 Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Good
Cancel
question.
the mission.
Good question. Okay, right? So
Cancel.
she's running away with her bag, and the
Sola.
groom is very sad, right? Okay.
So this rule works for every transitive verb?
Yes, but there is one exception, and that is pronouns. Okay? So, a pronoun, as a review, a pronoun is something that replaces a noun. So, and if the object of the verb is a pronoun, you must put it in the middle. You cannot put it after.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's incorrect to say, a friend called up her at work. No, that sounds weird. It's incorrect. But it's correct to say, a friend called her up at work. Because her is a pronoun, it replaces a noun.
Once
Okay.
again, what does it mean?
What does
Called
it
up.
mean? To call up is similar to call. Essentially, it just means to call.
I understand. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so here the particle doesn't really change the meaning, but it's common. We often say, she called me up to ask about this, right, or whatever. Very common. Okay, and so just to be clear, imagine we have a friend called up Sarah at
The
a friend called up Sarah at work. Would this be correct? Is this a correct sentence?
no, no, it's incorrect.
This one is correct, actually, because if it's a noun, right? Sarah is a noun. It's a person. It's not a pronoun. So the only time we have a problem putting the object after the phrasal verb is when it's a pronoun. So if instead of the pronoun we use the noun that it was replacing, we can put it either after the verb or in between the two parts of the phrasal verb. Any questions about that?
Teacher, so our friend called up Sarah at work is a correct sentence?
That's correct, yeah. But a friend called up her at work is incorrect because her is a pronoun.
Okay.
Okay. I think this will be clearer with examples. So don't worry if this sounds a bit tricky right now. Okay, so let's do some practice. Here, can someone read these directions for me?
Use each of the phrasal verbs to form 3 sentences about things that sometimes happen.
Great. Okay, so here's our example. So we have the phrasal verb to wake up, right? So I wake up in the morning. And their example sentences are, the baby often wakes up the parents. The baby often wakes the parents up. The baby often wakes them up. Them is what?
The parent.
A pronoun, yeah. A pronoun replacing the parents. And so we cannot put it after the up. We must put it in between wakes and up. All right. So for each of these phrasal verbs, we want to create 3 sentences following the example. So would someone like to try number 1? The phrasal verb is to pick out.
I pick out the options on the screen.
Okay.
I pick it out. I pick the option out on the screen.
And?
I pick it out the option. No, I pick it out in the screen. Screen.
So here you would just leave out in the screen. I pick it out. Good. I pick it out. Good.
I pick it out.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Number 2, figure out. Who can do number 2?
I figured out the problem in my car.
Okay. Good.
So I figured it out.
And? What's the third one? So I figure, wait, what? So start again. Sorry. What was
I figured out the problem in my car.
Okay, the second one? So follow this.
I figured the problem out.
Excellent. Good.
And I figured it out.
Excellent. Perfect. Okay. Very good. Number 3, to hand in. Who can do number 3? So some things you can, so hand in we often use in school. If students have an assignment due, they must hand in the assignment to the teacher.
I handed in a gift to my mom.
No, so this one would just, there you have to use give. Hand in is like when something is expected of you, right? Like an official document or homework or a paper, and you must hand it in, but usually by a certain date.
Okay, maybe I try. I handed in my social insurance number to my work.
Good, good.
Yeah, does it work?
Yeah, that would work.
Okay. I handed my social number in my work.
Into my work.
Into my work. Thank you. And I handed it in to my work.
Good, very good. Okay, a great example. Number 4, to take off. This one we use a lot. This is very common.
I take off my shoes. I take my shoes off. I take it off. I take them off.
Take them off. Perfect.
Take them off.
Very good. Okay, and we have 2 more. To make up.
My sister make up an excellent design.
Make up what?
An excellent design.
Ah, excellent. Okay, so my sister made up an internet design.
Yes. My sister makes the design up. My sister make it up.
Makes it up.
Makes it up.
Great. Very good. And the last one, to let down.
I let down with my boss.
I let down my boss.
I let down with my boss and with also my boss. And I let my boss down.
Great.
And I let him down.
I let him down. Perfect. Okay. So any questions about this so far?
You can you always in all phrasal verbs to put the pronouns or the name between the verbs at the
And the particle? Yeah. Yeah. So with all of
the
these
particle,
phrasal
yes.
verbs, yeah, you can separate them. This is something that works with all phrasal verbs. The only problem that you must remember is that pronouns must go in between the 2 parts. So that's the only rule. Okay, any other questions? All right, let me see if we need to go over anything else here. Okay, yeah, so this is good. All right, so here we have some verbs that are phrasal verbs that we can use to describe things that happen before and during a party. Okay, so I want you to use these phrasal verbs to make sentences let's start with things that happen before a party. So imagine that you're planning a party. What are some things that you must do before it starts using these phrasal verbs?
I have to ask over my friends.
Good. Great. And could you say, I have to ask my friends over?
Oh, yes, of course.
Yes, right? Good. Okay, perfect. Some other things that you must do before a party.
Sorry, a question, teacher.
Yes.
Uh, the word invite, uh, is it a polite way to make that ask?
Yeah, so in this case, so not all verbs, sorry. Okay, so there are some phrasal verbs that can be used in place of an extremely formal verb, right? But then there are some phrasal verbs that replace verbs that are just sort of normal. And invite is one of those verbs. It's not
Okay.
super formal, but it's also not informal.
Okay.
It's certainly more formal than ask over, but it's fine to use in conversation. Good question.
But ask over sound more native.
Yeah, if you said to ask someone over, it sounds more, yeah, it would sound more natural, more native.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. All right, so other things you would do before a party.
We have to straighten our house up.
Excellent. Good. We have to straighten up.
It's the same like clean.
Yeah, to straighten up is to clean.
Okay.
And so again, in this case, you could certainly say we have to clean our house, but to straighten up is more specific. It means to rearrange things, to make sure everything is in place, right? And when you say to clean, it implies more of you're using the mop, right? You're using soap and water and washing the floors and making sure everything is sparkling, right? So to straighten up is more to organize things, to make sure everything is in place. They have slightly different meanings, is what I'm saying. Okay, and let's see. So now let's go to things that would happen during a party.
We had to set the music up.
Yeah, we have to set the music up. Great.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I have to let my friends in.
Good. Good. Okay. And
Let the invites in.
let the guests in.
Let the guests in.
So invites are usually, it's short for invitations, and those are what you send to the guests to invite them to the party. To let the guests in. And what about with the phrasal verb to show up?
I suddenly saw me up.
Okay, so this one, I should have explained this before. The word intransitive means that a verb does not take an object.
I suddenly
So
show up.
I suddenly show up. Good. Yeah. Or you could say tons of guests suddenly show up. Right? All at the same time. But yeah, good. So intransitive. And similarly, run out does not take an object. So you could say the chips ran out, or the wine ran out. Right? When a fixed quantity ends, when there's not enough.
Girls ran out.
The girls run out. Okay. Good.
So run out can also be transitive, because we can say we are running out of water. We're running out of gas. We're running out of something.
Yeah, so this is tricky. That's a really good question. So let's just take the sentence you said. We're running out of gas, right? This looks like it has an object, right? And the object would be gas. But gas is actually the object of a preposition of. So here, we're running out. We're running out of what? Of gas. So this is a prepositional phrase. In other
Okay.
words, gas is not a direct object. It's an object of a preposition. So it's grammatically, it's not a direct object, and that means it's an intransitive verb. Is that clear?
You
Okay,
need always of, running out of.
Uh-huh, good. Yeah, but that was a really, really good question. A great question. Okay, so I'm going to come back on screen. Okay, hi. Thank you for bearing with that. I know that was a lot of grammar. Okay, so are there any questions? Or any other questions, I should say?
Miss,
There are a lot of intransitive verbs.
A lot of
Are
intransitive.
there?
I would say there's a mix. And so this is something, I think with practice, it becomes clear, which there's no like rule to say this is transitive, this is not. But if you use it, if you see it in context, you can usually figure it out. Because if it has a direct object, it's transitive. If it does not have a direct object, it's intransitive. Or if it cannot take a direct object, more specifically. Any other questions?
No.
Okay, so let's do a little bit of practice, and then we will do some speaking practice with these phrasal verbs. Okay, so I'm sending you a Google Doc. Can everyone open this?
Yeah.
Where?
Okay.
Okay.
In the
Okay.
Verbling chat box. Did you see it?
Thanks. Yes.
Okay, great. So here we have some activities. Okay, great. 6 of you and 6 here. So we're just going to practice using these phrasal verbs, right? So let's start with exercise 1, things we do every day. Let's see. Giuseppe, can you read the directions for me?
Yes.
Thanks.
These very common phrasal verbs are used to describe the type of actions that we do every day. Choose the correct form of a phrasal verb from the box to replace the words in italics in the sentence below. Put the word in the correct tense.
Okay, great. So here we have 7 phrasal verbs, and we have 7 different sentences. Okay, so essentially we need to look at the phrase in italics and decide which phrasal verb can replace this. Okay? So, and let's see, I could explain all the meanings of these phrasal verbs, but I think let's see if we can figure them out from context. Okay? And actually that's another phrasal verb, to figure out. We use that all the time, right? To figure out. To figure something out, to figure out a problem. Super common. All right, so who would like to do number 1?
Got up.
Go ahead.
I got up very early this morning.
Okay. Is there a different verb that you could use?
Maybe wake up more properly.
Yeah, okay, so these 2 verbs are interesting. To wake up versus to... They're very similar, and we often use them interchangeably. But there is a slight difference in meaning. So to wake up, this first sentence is to wake up. I woke up very early this morning. Because when you wake up, it's when you're sleeping, and you regain consciousness, right? You open your eyes, you're awake. And you can be awake for a long time before you actually get up.
Actually,
Is that clear? So let's see if we can do number 2. I think number 2 explains the difference between these two verbs pretty well. So who can do number 2 for me?
I can try.
Go ahead.
So it's interesting. Maybe I wake up again. I wake up and get up
Good.
of the bed at 7 o'clock during the week.
Good, yeah. So I wake up and get up at 7 o'clock during the week. So exactly. So to wake up is more when you physically stand up out of your bed. But again, if you say, so this sentence would be a bit repetitive if you said this, right? It would be better to just say, I wake up at 7 or I get up at 7 during the week, right? If you're talking, you don't need to specify both. Okay. Number 3.
She took off her jacket as she came in.
Excellent. She took off her jacket as she came in. Number 4.
I put on a coat and I left the house.
Good. And has anyone ever heard the verb dawned before?
No.
Never.
Okay, that's because this is really formal, and you'll find it in like Victorian novels, okay, and like literature from centuries past.
no, that's
Very, very formal. So if you said,
Antonavi.
yeah, today I'm donning a gray t-shirt, right, that would sound absurd. So always to put on clothes. Even in writing, I would say put on. Don is really formal. Okay.
I have a question concerning second meaning of put on. It's the same. It means put on weight.
Ah, excellent. Okay, to put on weight. Yeah, so this is kind of so this is a similar use of the verb to put on, right? And if you think about it, you put on clothes, right? You get dressed and put on clothes. This is figurative. So imagine you have this extra weight. It's like you're wearing it. It's like an item of clothing. That's where that came from. But yeah, to put on weight is a common expression. That's a great reference. So to put on clothes, to put on weight. Good. Okay. Number 5.
He went out.
Read the whole sentence.
He went out the house for a social activity with some friends.
Good. And here, you actually don't even need to say of the house, right? Because he went out for a social activity with some friends. It replaces this entire phrase in italics.
You can go out from your job or only from your house?
So went out usually means from your house, right?
Okay.
But if you're at work and someone says, oh, where were you? You could say, oh, I just went out for a coffee. Excuse me. Right? I went out for a few moments. Oh, sorry.
You need some water.
I know, I've been talking for too long. Okay. And I would say at work, if you, at the end of the day, it's not that you went out, it's that you left work. Right? So went out implies that you left for a few minutes and then came back. Okay, so can someone do number 6?
She works out in the local gym every day.
Excellent. Good. Number 7?
is the computer turned on? Do you turn off it by pressing a button?
Almost. Not will you turn off, will you
Turn it off.
turn it off?
Turn off.
Okay. Any questions? Okay, so let's do exercise number 3. Sorry, my voice is going. So, can everyone look at exercise 3? Traveling and transport. Raphael, can you read the directions, please?
Traveling and transport. These common phrasal verbs are connected with traveling and transport. Complete the task with the phrasal verbs below. Put them in the correct tense.
Good. Okay, so similar to the last activity. Who would like to start reading?
John and David's flight home from Amsterdam was at 9 in the morning. They had arranged to meet with John's friend Mark at 6:30, but Mark arrived at the hotel almost half an hour late. That, however, was just the beginning of their problems. On the way from the hotel to the airport, the car broke down in the middle of a busy intersection, causing a traffic jam.
Okay, next.
Next, David realized that he had left his mobile phone in the hotel, but it was too late for them to turn back. Yeah, for them to turn back.
Good. Next.
When they arrived at the airport, they had just enough time to check in,
Great.
go through passport control and security check, and get on the plane.
Then get on the plane. Excellent. Okay, next.
The plane took off very shortly after that, and 8 hours later, they landed in New York. But they couldn't get off the plane, because there was a problem on the runway.
Great. Perfect. And the last sentence?
They left jet lag, felt jet lag, and finally, 45 minutes after landing, they get off.
They got off.
Got off, yeah, got off.
Good. Okay, excellent. Any questions?
In this meaning, get off, it's leave the plane.
To leave the plane. Exactly.
So for plane, it's get on and get off.
So the same with a plane, a bus, a train. You get on and get off. Okay, and a boat also.
The plane
right.
take off, no? The plane take off very softly.
Takes off.
Okay.
So to take off and to land.
Landing, no?
Exactly.
So,
Okay. So if there are no more questions, I want to do some speaking using phrasal verbs. So everyone look at this or click on this link, please. Okay, so here on the document you have phrasal verbs, conversation questions. So essentially, I just want you to ask these questions to your classmates and have them answer. So look at the questions, see if there's one that you think is interesting, and then say, hey Daniel, do you like people calling on you at the weekend? Right, so just choose a classmate, choose a question, ask and answer. And let's see if we can get some discussion using phrasal verbs happening. So whoever is ready, you can just start.
I can try.
Okay.
So the last gadget which broke down in my house was my microwave. It not almost break down just sometimes when you don't expect it. It became to create a lot of sound, and especially it's not very comfortable at the night because sometimes it can wake you up.
Excellent. Good. And you used many phrasal verbs. Very good. Now, can you ask a classmate about this question or another question?
I try,
Okay.
but I don't know what kind of question that can answer.
So you'll have to form the question yourself.
With phrasal verb.
What's that?
With phrasal verb.
Yeah, so if you look at this, the link I sent you, for instance, one of the cards says the last time you had to dress up for a party. So if you wanted to make that into a question, what would you say?
What did you dress up last time for the party?
Or better would be, when was the last time you dressed up for a party?
When, yeah.
Okay. All right, so choose a card and ask one of your classmates a question. It could be that one.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it's better the same mark.
All right, so
Okay.
go ahead.
Okay, I try to Daniel. Daniel, are you ready?
Yeah. Ask
Okay.
me.
When did you last time?
The last time?
When you last time did dress up for a party?
Depths up, it's up here.
What's that?
Yeah, I don't know what it means.
To dress up. To dress
Up.
up means to put on nice clothing.
Put on?
To put on formal clothing.
Okay. It was 5 months ago when a friend of mine got married. I wear a suit, a black suit.
Cool.
Yes.
And can you ask one of your classmates another question?
Yes, Rafael.
Yeah.
Have you run into old school friends recently?
What do you mean about run into? It's to visit.
To run into is to encounter.
Encounter. Okay. I have run into some good friends recently because we celebrated 10 years after our graduation. It was fun. We had a great time together, and everyone talking about their life experience and things which happened after we left school. It
Very
was fun. It was a great experience. Yeah.
cool. And do you
Many
know what
many
that's
people
called?
bold.
When you
Sorry?
meet, do you know what it's called when you get together after 5 or 10 years after graduation?
No, I don't know.
It's called a reunion. So in your case, it would be your 10-year reunion.
Okay,
Mm,
nice.
Very cool.
like
All right,
Spain.
so yeah.
Really.
So Rafael, why don't you ask one of your classmates another question?
Okay, Daniel,
Yes.
is there anything you would like to cut down on?
So can you repeat slowly?
Uh, is there anything you would like to cut down on?
Two?
To cut down on?
Good down. I don't know what you mean. Good down.
Okay, so
No.
this is a new phrasal verb. To cut down on, so for instance, if I gain weight, I might want to cut down on fat or cut down on sugar, right? It's when you try to reduce the amount that you consume or use something.
I don't understand the meaning.
That's okay. Okay, so to cut down on, so it means if there's something that you eat a lot, right, and it's making you gain weight, you might want to cut down on that item, which means to stop eating so much of that item. Or alternatively, if you smoke a pack of cigarettes a day, your doctor might say, you should cut down on smoking, right? You should smoke less.
Okay.
Okay.
No, really. I've seen maybe cut down on drinking beer,
Okay, great.
but it's summertime and I'm really thirsty. It's the only way to don't uh, uh, don't have don't be thirsty. Don't be
Good. It's
thirsty.
the only way to quench your thirst.
Sorry?
To quench your
Quen
thirst. We use the
quench
verb,
my thirst. My thirst.
it means to
Yes.
satiate.
To quench your thirst. Okay.
Mhm. Okay, and Daniel, why don't you ask a question to one of
Anna.
your,
Anna?
it's not
Yeah,
Or Roman. Roman. Roman,
Roman.
no
no?
problem, no problem, friend.
Roman. Okay. Uh, an occasion on which you have had to give in.
So what was an occasion? The question would be, what was an occasion
What
when,
was an occasion on which you have had to give in?
okay, good.
Gideon, remind me please. I remember give up,
Yeah,
but
it's
what?
similar to give up. To give in usually means when you have an opinion and someone else has a different opinion, and you say, you know what, fine, I'll give in. We can do this your way.
Uh, okay. Uh, yeah, I understand.
Okay?
Not I'm not really understand how can
You
I?
don't. Sorry. Okay,
Yeah,
so
I. So when somebody has opinion and we discuss it, and I decided to accept his opinion.
yeah, or if someone, or another way is if there's a child and the child keeps asking his mother for a new toy and says, "Mom, please, Mom, I really want the toy. Mom, please, please, please." And he asks every day, all the time. eventually the mom might give in or agree to give him
Surrender.
the toy. Yeah, it's like surrender kind of. Like, okay, you can have what you want.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, good.
What else? It's interesting. What can I think about it? I not always give in, that's why it's difficult. Okay, mm, I have offer from my employer about improving our technological process, but my supervisor told that it will not work, and I
And you gave in.
gave in, yeah.
Okay, great. Good. And Roman, why don't you ask one last question to one of your classmates?
Mm, what does it mean, show off? Show off.
Show off means to brag. To brag or to say, oh, I'm the best, I'm so good at this, and I'm so good at that, and everyone loves me, and to tell everyone about your talents and accomplishments. It's to brag.
Okay, Daniel.
Yes.
Uh, have you ever have you ever showed off? Showed off?
Shown off.
Shown off? Off?
Shown off someone.
Have you ever shown off to someone?
Sorry.
Shown off.
So have you ever told everyone about your talents and spoken very highly of yourself?
Maybe when I 16, my father give me away a motorcycle.
He gave you a motorcycle.
Yes.
Okay, and you showed that off.
Yes.
Okay, it's a cool thing to show off when you're 16.
Yes.
All right, so any last minute questions?
No question.
No. Okay, well, thank you all, and especially the three of you, Roman, Daniel, and Rafael, for staying with me through the whole class. I appreciate it. And I hope you learned something. As always, if you have questions, feel free to message me. Okay? And otherwise, have a great day.
Thank you, teacher.
Bye.
And very soon, teacher. A little honey and lemon to you.
I know. A little honey and lemon. Yeah, I've been teaching too much. All right, I'll see you later.
Bye, teacher.
Bye.